Hello and welcome to lesson 11. In this lesson I want you, from now on, let's make a deal, I want you never to use the word revert in your writing. Mostly you're going to find this word in emails, and you are going to receive emails with this word. So you might think, okay, everyone else is using it, I can use it as well. But from now on, I want you to never use that word again, and in this video, I will explain why. Sometimes being able to write more clearly is just about avoiding confusing words, and that's what revert is. It is a confusing word. No one knows exactly what it means. It's a word where if you look at the definition in a dictionary, it will tell you one or two things. It will tell you the proper meaning of revert and what revert is understood to mean today. But when you meet the word in context, so when you see an email with revert in it, it doesn't automatically match the meaning in the dictionary. So the actual definition of revert is to go back to a previous state, to revert to what it was last week, last month, or so on. And in law, revert means to give back possession to the person who had possession before. So the legal definition of revert and the normal, everyday English definition of revert are very, very similar. To go back to what it was. However, the modern definition, that is in the last 20 or 30 years, the modern definition of revert is to respond or to reply. But that's not always the case, and the problem is that it can mean different things depending on the context, and we'll have a look at a few examples in a second. The biggest problem with this is when it's used in a context and it doesn't mean respond or reply, then you're asking the reader to do the work. You're asking the reader to try to work out what the message is. This is not the job of the reader. This is the job of you as the writer. You as the writer should choose language which is easy for the reader to understand or clear for the reader to understand. This is one main reason why readers get so annoyed, because they have to spend time and try to work out what is the writer trying to say. And that's why you have to avoid this word revert. So let's have a look at an example sentence. Please can you revert to the client and answer her question? Now, this could mean a number of different things, and that's the problem with revert. Underneath revert, there is actually a clear message. But because the writer doesn't express that clear message, we, as the reader in this case, have to understand what this means. So, if my boss sent me this email, please can you revert to the client and answer her question? I have to work out, what does my boss want from me? And then I've got to make a decision, and my decision might be correct or it might be incorrect. And if it's incorrect, then my boss will shout at me, and that's not fair. Similarly, if you're writing to someone and you say revert, you're also not being fair to the reader, because the reader then has to decide in the same way I would have to decide if my boss sent me a message. So using revert, using ambiguous language, is not fair to the reader. What could this example sentence mean? It could mean, please can you contact the client and answer her question? It could mean, please could you reply to the client, this is her email below, and answer her question. It could mean other things as well, depending on the context. So this is the problem. If I understand this word wrongly, if the reader understands this word wrongly, then you're not being fair to the reader. So these are the teaching tips. Don't use revert. Use a strong verb, what you really want to say, whether it's contact, whether it's respond, whether it's reply, whether it's inform, whether it's tell, whatever strong verb you can think of, then use that strong verb instead. Everyone else does it is not an excuse. Just understand that. When I have a lawyer that I'm working with says, "Oh, everyone does this, I'm going to do it as well," then I say, "Are you adding to the problem? Why are you adding to the problem?" You have a choice to write clearly and then the reader will like your writing, or you can choose to write in a confused way, but don't be surprised if the reader starts to complain. Similarly, natives use it is also not an excuse. Native writers make mistakes as well. Just because we are native speakers, just because we come from a country where English is our first language, does not mean we never, I know there's a double negative there, it does not mean we write perfectly all of the time. It doesn't. I make mistakes when I write sometimes. People, my family, my business clients, my contacts, whoever it might be, when they write to me, they make mistakes as well. Okay? Native speakers make mistakes, therefore natives use it is not an excuse. Now, I will help you just a little bit. If you have to use it, and I really recommend that you don't, but if you have to use it, never say revert back, because revert means come back or respond or go back, and so back is just a repetition. So this would be go back in the case. So revert back to me is an English grammatical mistake. Okay, time for some questions just to show you how confusing revert can be. I would like you to rewrite the sentences below this video using a strong verb, what you think the message should be. For example, please revert to me with the signed document could be, please send back the signed document to me, or please send the signed document to me. When you have a look at my suggested answers, you might see that I come up with different verbs to the verbs that you choose, and that will show you the problem of using revert. Revert is not clear, understandable language. Revert is confusing language. Okay, try the questions below, and once you have finished, click on my answer video.